I'm just letting them settle in. It's a trick I learned. I'm gonna drop my voice so everyone has to listen. All right. Thank you all so much for coming to, this is our 8th annual Porcupine Day, which to me just seems absolutely crazy. 8 years since we triggered the move. We're still around, we're actually growing, we are thriving, and we're making history, which is pretty damn cool. So give yourselves a round of applause for being the most radical, certified extremists in the world. So I think we should make that our official PorcFest t-shirt, certified extremist. You take the wind out of their sails, they can't win if we keep making fun of them. I'm gonna ask the folks at the back if you could keep your voices down. If you want to talk, go away. Oh, what do I mean by that?
There's a back room.
There's a back room, or the space actually at the back door would work as well. So Porcupine Day, of course, holds a really special place in my heart. You know, Jason, me, Matt Phillips, we threw a big press conference. We had about 100 people there at the time, and we sort of announced that this crazy idea that Jason had come up with has become a reality, and that we were going to tell the 20,000 pledgers to come on home to our libertarian homeland. And here we are. So in many ways, I feel like my journey with the Free State Project is also taking a turn, hopefully for the better, in the sense that for me, this is sort of the end of the beginning. It's the end of like the first gen of what we were doing. I've been in New Hampshire now with Louis, my husband, who is the unsung hero of the Free State Project. Louis! Who literally just ran around with a remote control because I couldn't figure out how to loop the sponsor things on the TV, and he just kept putting them back on, so thank you. It's the end of the beginning in the sense that we've been here for 15 years and it's time to make room for the next generation. And you know, that's part of the reason I was really excited when we had this great opportunity to hire Eric Brakey, who we'll hear from later today, right? That's sort of like that next wave of people who are going to be coming to the Free State so that we can tell the story again. We had that first exodus, we had that first pioneers. We've proven it works. We know what we're doing is expanding liberty in New Hampshire, and that we are creating a beacon of liberty that other people can't stand because we're making them look bad because our ideas are better than theirs and free markets actually work. And how you have a better life and peace and prosperity is through human flourishing of allowing us all to be our unique, crazy selves. So, I'm very excited to have Eric come in. And, you know, this project only works if we all pull our weight a little bit. So I think it is very important to remember that you can get overwhelmed. There's almost too much to do, right? You're like, should I work on bills? Should I volunteer for an event? Should I show up? What should I do? And so I would say mindfully start to think about what you're truly passionate about. You know, so many of us, I don't know, maybe it's just me who struggles with this, but I'm good at a lot of things and I have way too many interests. And so it becomes really hard to be like, oh my God, what should I be doing? There are 400 bills I could be working on this week. And instead of approaching it that way, go, well, what is one thing where I can actually make a remarkable difference? So find that issue. For me, I decided it was right to know because I think open government is a way for us to really radically reform the state. So if we know what's going on, we can actually make things better. It's when we don't know what the hell they're doing, then we certainly can't hold them accountable. But we have to remember this is a project. And it's a team effort, and it takes all of us. And if every single person in this room today literally just shared every post you see, I'm not saying be a psycho psycho stalker, like when the boys like you on the internet. Don't do that, or maybe do that. Make the Free State Project your secret little crush, and share everything and like everything and help us, because that organic growth actually does make a difference, and it does help more people learn about us. Also, actually, one of the remarkable things I thought that Dennis Pratt did with PorcFest is he figured out, I was like, I've learned a lot from you, Dennis, I can't lie. He figured out how to decentralize trying to get people to do stuff. It's really hard for one person to pull 1,000 people or to pull 3,000 people. But if you have a PorcFest where you create a hub model, and now you have 100 hubs or 200 hubs, or how many? Well, you had like 70,000 hubs, I think, last time. I couldn't quite keep up. But you have a whole subgroup of people who are vested. So Dennis gets 200 people to go get 20 people each to help with their hub. Now we're decentralizing how we're recruiting and how we're getting people to get people they're passionate about or their friends. So honestly, each person in this room should actively at any time be trying to recruit 3 people you know, whether they're just someone you talk to on the internet, or it's a close friend, or it's a family member. I live next to a porcupine who never comes to anything. He used to be much more active back in the day, but his sister has moved here. She lives in Amherst. His parents have moved here. And I was like, I want him to show up too, of course, but I'm like, more of that, right? So if everyone here pledges to themselves, make a promise to yourself and keep it. You can make it to me and not keep it. I'm probably not going to remember. I hope you'll make it to yourself and keep it. And be like, part of our job as a Free Stater is to go find those people, recruit them, because what we're doing is we're building the community and the future we want to see. And that's up to each one of us. And everyone here knows and understands that, because that's how we're driven. Go find those people and let's make what we're doing even bigger and more successful. All right, the lay of the land for tonight is I am now going to thank our sponsors, and then I'm just going to tell you what we'll be doing for the rest. After I thank our sponsors, Jason's going to be making some remarks, and then we're going to have Rainita. I'm going to introduce her, and she's going to show us a little new scene of the movie that's coming out. And then we'll hear from our amazing events organizers. And then Eric will bring it home at the end. And then we will hang out and party. And I believe there might even be more drinks tickets. So thanks to some sponsors. So that leads me to this part. I don't know where we are on the slideshow. Probably not as well synced as I would have hoped. I didn't even think about that until this very second. But I would like to thank all of our sponsors. First of all, our gold sponsor. This is the first time, actually, it's the first time I've done it sort of as the structure. I was like, oh, where can I add value? I very clearly sent a message to the board that has aligned with this next generation stuff, where I was like, going forward, I will work on one event, and it will be this one, by which I mean we are now large enough, and I've learned to let go enough that other people can do the harder stuff. But I would like to evolve this into our in-state celebration and a fundraiser, and who knows, maybe in 10 years' time we make it black tie. So, and Mickey's ready. So with that, this is the first time I've actually gone and gotten sponsorships. I'm learning new things and all of that, but I'm very, very, very grateful for the generous support from all of our sponsors. First of all, from the Fentons, so that was FSB DAC, which is the Free State Blockchain Digital Asset Conference. That is, I believe, actually in its 5th year. And if you haven't been, it is great. If you're into crypto, if you're into blockchain, if you're into Bitcoin, altcoin, Doge, whatever the in thing is, right? Monero, Dash, whatever you're into or not into, whatever you hate. This is a great conference. They hold it out in Durham. It'll be in the fall, and there'll be more details about that coming out, so stay tuned. They would have loved to be here, but they actually host a really big like Satoshi Circle in Dubai for hundreds of people. So they're out there doing that currently in a penthouse somewhere at an undisclosed location. Thank you to our silver sponsor, Ledgeview Commercial and Porcupine Real Estate. These stalwarts have been sponsors. Actually, I mean, I think Mark's actually been a sponsor for decades. So now that I'm in the real estate business and I realize how much money he's made, I was like, it's a good thing you've been a sponsor for decades. I would like to thank them, of course, for their generous underwriting and unwavering support here. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but the drinks are, it's Porcupine and Ledge Brew. So I'm sorry I flubbed that. I'll give you a $50 discount. I also want to thank the veteran-owned and operated Abel Ebenezer Brewing Company. You know, Carl Soderberg is one of us. If you haven't been to their space out in Merrimack, I highly recommend you do it. They have a lovely, very soft Liberty library. You know, the whole history of Abel Ebenezer is fascinating, so definitely look into that. And do go visit their Merrimack facility. I would also like to thank Independence Realty Group for their stalwart, of course, you know, Constance is working on PorcFest. She's been doing, you know, the yeoman's work for years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And they helped underwrite this great space. If you guys don't know, we have the what's it called? The Walk of the Land? We have the whole space. We have the whole, so you could go back here. There are like 4 or 5 other rooms. You can learn more about the mill buildings, which I call sideways skyscrapers. And it's quite fascinating. So definitely go walk around and take advantage of that. So thank you to Independence Realty Group for that. And then this was a small one, but I want to recommend for everyone next year, if you have a pet project for $100, I will say your name here. Say my name, say my name. So I would like to thank Bare Minimum Books. Ian Underwood is not here, but Jody, please extend our thanks. The books are out at the front there, so if you want to buy one, you can take a card, but you have to buy the book, so talk to Jody. And then I would like to also thank a new sponsor, Oz Entertainment, back there. Gamer, DJ, a whole litany of stuff. If you don't know Kim yet, go say hi. So that is the responsible part. You know what? I will tell you guys this. It's a lot easier to give speeches if you're not drunk and you write shit down. Next time I'll put my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm reading to. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our founder and my friend, Jason Sorens, and he's going to say some words as well.
And good evening, everyone. And it's great to be here with you all to celebrate us, to celebrate the Free State Project and our reaching 20,000 8 years ago, and to celebrate our journey since then. And tonight I'm going to speak with you about a new book. And I just want to ask first, does anyone still read? Okay, good. Because sometimes I feel as if everyone is listening and watching things, and yeah. Okay, good. I expected it that in this crowd, some of you would still read. All right, so we've got a book coming out about the Free State Project that is not quite like any other piece of content that's been produced by or about us before. But before I talk about the book, I want to say a little bit about the author, Dr. Matt Barney. So Matt is an organizational psychologist, an artificial intelligence expert, and serial entrepreneur. His work has resulted in 4 patents, 11 books, and 45 peer-reviewed works. And if you've ever interacted with him online, you'll know that he is one of the friendliest and most positive people that you will find in the cesspools of social media. Now, Matt has been a participant in the Free State Project for over 20 years, since before the state vote. But he's only going to move here finally this year. So he's very much looking forward to that. And you might remember what it was like, I certainly do, before you moved to New Hampshire, and how you felt, right? Well, you knew that New Hampshire was the place to be, the promised land. I mean, this is how I felt. You learn to live the dream, right? And maybe you're even a little bit jealous of the people who already were. And I see this book as kind of coming out of that excitement and longing. And yes, out of the author's expertise. And he definitely has something to teach us. But you can tell that he's excited about what's happening here. And sometimes we need that perspective of the outsider. We get caught up in the things that we're working on here in the state, and sometimes we don't realize, what we're doing here is really pretty cool. The main audience for this book is libertarians who haven't yet made the leap, but it also has some insights and plenty of wisdom for those of us who are already here. And some of you in this room are featured in the book. The name of the book is Growing Liberty, Nurturing Personal and Economic Freedom in an Unfree World. Matt describes it as a manifesto of empowerment and inspiration, crafted to awaken within each of us a profound understanding of our potential to cultivate freedom in our lives and make a lasting impact on our communities. The text serves as a guide, a roadmap to unlocking our innate power and living life on our own terms. In the first section of Growing Liberty, we are encouraged to explore our passions and capabilities and to develop the strengths necessary to achieve our goals. The book draws on the experiences of like-minded individuals who have embarked on the journey of liberty, blending science and interviews with Free State Project participants to fire your imagination of what's possible. The second part of the book unveils the secrets of persuasion, equipping us with the tools to rally others to our cause and create more freedom in our own lives. It illuminates the path to becoming influential advocates for freedom, both within New Hampshire and beyond. This section serves as a playbook, empowering us to transform situations and effect change for the betterment of liberty. Now, Matt is influenced by a social psychologist named Robert Cialdini, whose book Influence I first read about 15 years ago. Anyone else here read that book? Okay, a couple of you. I think it was a bestseller. It was a popular book a long time ago. It's not a very long read. And I think it really still holds up. In fact, I liked it so much I even assigned it in a couple of my classes. And one part of the book really stuck with me. And to explain why, I'll have to tell you a little story from when I was in college. So one day I was coming out of the library, and this guy accosted me, and he was sort of hippie-ish, and he looked just a little bit too old to be a college student. And he had this kind of far away look in his eyes, like kind of looking in the middle distance, something maybe not quite right. And he wanted to give me this book, and he kept like pushing this book into my hands. It looked like some sort of culty neo-Hindu sort of woo thing. And I was like, no, absolutely no. And then, but he was insistent. He was like, no, here, I'm giving this to you. Take it. And I was like, fine. If it'll, took the book. And then he was like, and, could you give me $1 for the book? And I was like, I don't believe this guy. But I pulled out my wallet, I gave him $1. I took the book, I walked, stormed to the nearest trash can I could find and shoved it into the maw of that trash can. Right? But I'd given them the $1. And what was really interesting is I read this book and it told a similar anecdote. I was only a few pages in when I came across it. So here it is. A study was conducted by a psychologist at Chicago's O'Hare Airport, where they sat and observed everyone's behavior. At the time, members of Hare Krishna would come up to you and present you with a handmade flower. And maybe this guy was Hare Krishna, I don't know. They would hand you the flower despite your many protests as you were hurried and were trying to balance your bags while making it to your next gate in time or to go to baggage claim. But this group was so insistent and direct that you would ultimately grab it and shove it into your pocket or stuff it somewhere. Then they would ask you for a donation. Right? While you had no intention of giving them money, psychologists found that people felt obligated. Everyone, it didn't seem to matter their social station or their age or anything else, everyone would reach into his pocket, pull out $1 and hand it to them, but a few steps later, they would throw the flower away, often with great fury and disgust. It was exactly what had happened to me. So this study not only explained what I experienced as a college student, but also illuminated this principle that Cialdini calls reciprocity. So people feel obligated to give back to someone who has given them something. In the case of the Hare Krishnas and the culty guy on campus, they benefited by getting money, and they were perfectly willing to pay the cost of alienating me and the people in the airport. But if you're trying to bring people to your side and actually believe in what you're saying, reciprocity needs to play out a little differently. It has to come from things like doing things for other people in your neighborhood or your town or your party or whatever, the group that you're a part of, over the long haul. Some people call it banking life credits. So that's one kind of insight about how reciprocity can actually work in social relationships in a positive way for us and our communities. In Matt's book, you'll find out about this and other principles of influence, but you'll also learn about how he interprets the efforts of a lot of people in this room in light of these principles. So that's kind of interesting. We can read about ourselves. Ultimately, Matt makes a strong case for participating in the Free State Project as a way to achieve personal freedom and growth. In my foreword to the book, I quote a passage from John Stuart Mill's On Liberty. He who lets the world, or his own portion of it, choose his life plan for him, has no need of any other faculty than the ape-like one of imitation. He who chooses his plan for himself employs all his faculties. He must use observation to see, reasoning and judgment to foresee, activity to gather materials for decision, discrimination to decide, and when he has decided, firmness and self-control to hold to his deliberate decision. And these qualities he requires and exercises exactly in proportion as the part of his conduct which he determines according to his own judgment and feelings is a large one. Human nature is not a machine to be built after a model and set to do exactly the work prescribed for it, but a tree which requires to grow and develop itself on all sides according to the tendency of the inward forces which make it a living thing. And I go on. Our society pays a great deal of lip service to individuality, but in practice it squelches it. Even the conspiracy theorist who thinks of himself as defiantly rejecting the knowledge that they want you to believe is almost always himself merely following a line of thought already set out for him by someone else. To regard the world with a skeptical yet objective eye, considering evidence but not thinking in terms of absolute certainty, willing to consider multiple sources and challenge deeply held presuppositions, is a difficult line to walk in any age. No one truly approximates the ideal of complete objectivity and valuing truth always as an end in itself. Yet I think it is no accident that libertarians, humanity's most vigorous defenders of freedom, are also generally committed to individuality, objectivity, reason, and progress. By bringing together in a single polity people who are much more committed to these values than average Americans are, the Free State Project creates an ideal environment for human development and growth. And Carla writes the epilogue to the book, and I'm going to take the liberty of reading a short quote from her section. So she says, the tone is a little different here. She says, imagine it's 300 years ago in Europe, and a village peasant is like, yo, dude, want to get in early on Switzerland? I mean, did you guys hear that in Carla's voice? Because when I read it, it was like right here, her voice. Now imagine I'm that peasant saying, care to still get in early on the freest place on earth? If you value a purpose-driven life amongst a community of thousands and thousands of like-minded people who value the things that you value, universal freedom, property rights, individual liberty, and personal responsibility, and you're willing to take the leap, you will not regret it. You will not regret it because it will be your choice and your destiny, and it is better to decide for yourself before history forces you to decide. And all the people said, Amen. So maybe that gives you a little bit of a flavor of the book, and it's a very short read, but I think it's very interesting, and I hope he continues to build on this work. Before I go, I should note that Matt wants to thank everyone here who was interviewed for the book, and especially Jody Underwood for her masterful editing. Growing Liberty will drop next month on Amazon right before Liberty Forum, so be sure to get your copy. All proceeds will go to the Free State Project. And I think it would be kind of cool to get this on one of those top-selling lists on Amazon when it comes out. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Thank you.
I also want to mention that Matt has a Chat GPT style AI that's based on Cialdini. It's called Cialdini Bot, and it helps you make the most persuasive argument for something, and I've actually started to use it for my documentary, and I've talked to Matt, and he's great, and I'm really excited for him to move here, and I'm hoping he moves to the Lakes region, because that's where I live. So, but yes, I have a new scene from the documentary tonight. It's a little rough, it's not its final form, but the content is not rough. The content is very good. It's we went to see Shallon and Jay Noon at their farm and got to visit with their two kids, and it was really great. That was in early December, and you know, this event, Porcupine Day, is very special to the documentary because it was our first shoot ever in 2022. I actually just met my camera guy for the first time like an hour before at an Airbnb in Manchester. And we went over to the event. It was really great. There was a lot of people there. So it's been a great experience. It's been almost 2 years now. And I appreciate everyone's support and help. And also, if anyone wants to help out with some various things on the documentary, come see me because I could use some help. It doesn't require any filmmaking experience. So thank you. I'm gonna get it set up, might take me a second.
And she's being way too polite, so I will do it on her behalf.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Oh, you said you wanted to do it after. Sorry, I am stealing her thunder. But please do keep the documentary in mind for financial support. We did get a large donation. It was she, not we. Me and my eyes and my wees. I try, man, but I like a wee. A good wee is just well placed. Please do support or consider supporting her documentary. There are little flyers around, so are we ready? Can I stop rambling, or do I have to make some wee yourself jokes?
Keep going.
Okay. Knock, knock.
We should shout out these lights.
Oh.
They're gonna do it for us.
Okay. Who knows?
She does.
She does. There is a magic she who's going to switch off lights. Okay, the she is ready.
It's like a Celtic sheep.
Okay, here.
No,
One more. The most important one, the one right here at the front. Oh, on the. Okay, who has eyes on the she? We need the computer on. Ah. Thank you. I'm going to assume that's Ashley. So thank you, Ashley. I don't mean to call
We
you.
need the projector back on.
But the projector is now currently off.
Oh, she did hit the breaker.
But not the mic. Oh, okay. I wish I knew jokes that weren't racist. I grew up in South Africa. Don't blame me. Actually, I will tell this story. When I was applying for Rotary Club, here's a life lesson. If you're interviewing someone and you really want to unsettle them, halfway through the interview, just go, hey, tell me a joke. It is the worst interview experience of my life. And that's when you learn you only know racist jokes. You only know dad jokes. I'm like, we'll be here all night. I am thinking about pivoting to a stand-up career. What do you guys think? I mean, I'll write a joke. Okay, the light's back on. But the projector,
That one came off.
That'll work.
that'll work, whatever that was. So,
And then the other side of whatever.
and then
Is the projector on?
the projector is,
We need to plug it into another outlet?
oh. So we tried everything except with the lights off. So note to self, next time. It's always something.
It's thinking about it.
Okay, it's thinking about it. Marianne, while they're setting that up, do you want to come tell folks about Liberty Forum? That way. Okay, we're booting. What do you think, Heather? Okay. Oh, let me do a decent introduction.
Oh, thank you.
For folks who don't know, Marianne Ward recently re-moved here because we're so awesome. Sometimes you have to leave to go do something like take care of parents or life stuff.
Graduate degree.
Get your graduate degree. But then, people come back because it's worth it. So Marianne came back. She's currently living in Concord, and she generously, I won't say foolishly, I will say generously, volunteered to take over Liberty Forum this year, and she is going to tell us a little bit, and pay attention because there is a important piece of information if you're watching your wallet.
Thank you. It's hard to follow Jason. So I am way overeducated, and so Jason speaks to me in a certain academic way. So following all that, I am the producer of Liberty Forum. I came here the first time. I like to say maybe third time's the charm, right? I've moved here 3 times. And I want to use that opportunity to thank Chris Lopez because she does all the things. But she organized a move for me. I think I might have had the biggest crowd of move-in people ever. So thank you. If I don't,
But we had a lot.
pretty close. I'm not competing. There's no competition with Jason Sorens. I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, right? But yes, I'm producing Liberty Forum this year, which is a fancy term for doing a lot of grunt work and then letting Tammy Garthwaite tell me what to do sometimes. She's just louder than I am. I'm still the producer. She's just louder. But how many of you, let me just ask, how many of you have been to Liberty Forum ever? How many of you have been to more than 3? All right, how many have been to it in Nashua? Okay, let me just tell you, no slam on Executive Court or anybody that organized that Liberty Forum. Nashua is a great location for Liberty Forum. And we're back this year. So if you like, it's going to be a little more of a conference this year, more fleshed out. And I want you to know the VIP ticket is worth it. Like, we're going to have VIP things. So just let you know, better food. Let me tell you, if you haven't heard, Glenn Jacobs is our Saturday night keynote speaker. Kane the wrestler. I am so excited, and my friend Jack Hunter is coming to introduce him. So I'm a little bit like let me back up. I told her I wanted 3 minutes, so I'm not doing a good job of that. But I came to New Hampshire the first time ever in 2010. I was working for Ron Paul's Campaign for Liberty. I don't know if any of you have heard of a guy named Ron Paul. I worked for him 2 different times, and I worked for his organization, Campaign for Liberty, and I got to come to Liberty Forum because nobody else wanted to go to New Hampshire in March. And I fell in love with New Hampshire at Liberty Forum, so it has a special place in my heart. And so when sort of things had happened after COVID, where we've struggled with kind of getting it back, really, if you don't know just a little bit of history, the point of Liberty Forum versus PorcFest, right? PorcFest is the summer camping festival. You just do whatever, and you experience freedom and you experience liberty in a community in a way that you can't outside of New Hampshire, really. But Liberty Forum was a time to sort of hear from speakers and hear from people who maybe a little more like me and Jason have spent a lot of time in the academic world and the philosophy of libertarianism and what liberty really means. That's what Liberty Forum is. So it also showcases New Hampshire in the cold weather to show you that it's really not that bad. It really is. And frankly, my first year, 2010, we were wearing short sleeves outside in March. So you never know what you're going to get. And we love that for out-of-state people. So if you haven't been to New Hampshire or you haven't been in a while, please come back this year, March 15th to 17th. I know it's St. Patrick's Day. There will be alcohol available. So, but also, I have little coupon tickets. If you haven't seen them, we have more. A coupon code for just the Porcupine Day people, because we want to thank you for supporting this event. I signed the letter of intent like in 2013, and like I said, I moved here 3 times, but I'm here again. And also, I have a little bonus. So if you buy your ticket tonight, and if you've bought it before, my friend Tim Pantano, he gave us some glass. So if you heard of the movie Civil War, I hope it's not a prophecy. But these are cool red glasses from that movie. If you're into that, I have them for you. Just come say to Marion, I bought my ticket to Liberty Forum already, and I will give you some of these cool glasses. I have them. So please come, check out the coupon tickets, $20 off any ticket. Please consider the VIP ticket because it will be worth it for you. Good dinners, Glenn Jacobs, Brian Kaplan, who I'm excited to meet. I know, you probably don't know. I learned who he was. The Mercatus Center at George Mason University is doing great work in economics, and, you know, I could get boring, but they're going to show a video of the documentary, so we probably should watch that. But please come to Liberty Forum. If you have any questions, or you want to volunteer, or you want to sponsor, be a vendor, we still have vendor tables available, come see me. All right.
So, PorcFest. I moved to New Hampshire because of PorcFest. And it is near and dear to my heart. And like Carla said, find something that you love and focus on it. So last year, I was able to co-produce after running registration for a number of years with Dennis. And that was an amazing experience. And this year, when Dennis retired from PorcFest, everybody said, who's gonna take over? And I said, that's my level of crazy. I'll do that. So we asked for feedback, and you know, libertarians are very shy about their feedback, but we got some. And one of the things that we got is that they'd like the schedule to be easier to update and the map for the hubs. We really want the hubs to stay. And I can't see what this says, so I can't read to you.
Dear Miranda, what are those
But I'm going to give you a real quick, because I told Carla 5 minutes, so we'll see how close I can do, to what we've been working on. So this is at porcfest.com, and I will give you the actual URL later for coming. So it's not all ready, but you guys are good, right? So you'll be able to handle this. We have mapped the entire campground on OpenStreetMap. Every single site has a pin, so you will be able to get access to your site and decide whether you're going to make it a hub, make a schedule, and who you will allow to add events. I don't know how I'm doing because I can't see. So, but I did help develop this. So
You can search for events.
yes, search for events. You know what? I gotta pop this out.
I don't think you can.
I can't. All right. Let's see if you guys can hear me. Right? Never. Search for events. And then there are different things that you can see with the events. So what we got? Now I'm gonna demo. So another thing you can set, thank you. RSVP and set alerts. So if you've got something that you really, really want to see, and then you start having a conversation for 2 hours, nobody's ever done that, right? This thing will allow you to have your custom schedule, and it will notify you on your phone. I mean, we probably do need to put a disclaimer up for these hubs that this is not the FSP that is sponsoring these individual events.
But check out the rain boots on that Porcupine.
Yes, he's gonna vote with his feet. So there's the map. So as you're walking through, I don't know how many here are introverts, but I am definitely an introvert. And sometimes I walk past something at PorcFest, can you advance it? And I see an event and I'm like, that looks really cool, but it's already happening. And do I wanna walk up? And what if I hate it? And what if now as you're walking through the campground, you're gonna be able to look at a location, pull up the schedule, and see what that event is before you walk over. And this is our grid view. So unfortunately, there's gonna be, no, I can't say that. Fortunately, there's gonna be so many events, it's gonna be hard to see on your mobile. However, we do have grid view. And when Rogers may accidentally move you last minute, it's gonna be much easier for us to update the map. We'll just change your location key and all your events will move with you. So that's my scenario. There's my questions, but it's really cool. So if you guys want, you guys want to add hubs? You want to add events? Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! Porcfest.com/calendar XXI. And thank you for everybody who contributed to the feedback. I know it, like I said, not at all controversial, but there was another really important piece of feedback that we got, and I want to acknowledge real quick. And do you know what that was?
Water.
Yeah, that water, yeah. But that we want Ron Paul. And I would like to acknowledge that Olga worked really hard, and we at least have Ron Paul virtually. So get your tickets.
And since we're all here, let's give everyone who's done an event for the Free State Project just a massive round of applause. Why not? Let's share the love, guys. All right, last but not least, and then we can get back to the partying, eating, socializing, networking, walking through the museum, having a good time, posting photos, putting them on social, recruiting people, you know, all the good stuff. I am delighted. Welcome to the podium in a sec, our new executive director, Eric Brakey. In case you guys haven't been paying attention, this guy hit the ground running. I don't know what you're doing. I believe he's also like teaching substitute classes. I think you're gonna have to let that go. I'm just saying.
I scaled back.
Okay. Because I'm like, there's some stuff on my plate that I would like to make your problem. Anyway, no, I want to help you succeed, and I've been thrilled to see what you're doing. I don't want to steal your thunder, but like we have been like in Newsweek, we've been on Fox and Friends, we've been like all over. I know no one likes the mainstream media, but here's the reality. The algorithms on the internet don't think you exist unless you're actually still logged for SEO and mainstream stuff. So there is actually a logic to the madness. It does matter. And so it's been interesting to see. I mean, it is an indication, of course, that we have arrived, right? Because the NBC series, which has been nominated for an Emmy Award, the last season or the last episode is coming out. They just shot at our house, at my house. Eric came over. They shot my dog. No. They shot video. Also, you know what? I don't know. It was because the lights were off. I really don't know any racist joke. Okay, I know one racist joke, but please don't let that be the takeaway tonight. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna shut up, yo dudes, and welcome Eric Brakey to let us know how his first 65 days, I counted, on the job have been going. Eric.
All right. I'm told this microphone is stuck here. All right.
It is, yeah, it has something to do with this.
Well, that is how it is. I'll be stuck behind a podium. Hello! Good to see you all. You know, as Carla notes, I wasn't counting, but I guess it has been 65 days. And already, well, actually, let me ask you, show of hands. Raise your hand if you were recently on the Granite State Matters enemies list. All right, I'm not alone. I haven't even moved here yet. I'm already on the enemies list. Well, nothing quite makes me feel like I'm a member of the Free State community like ending up on your enemies list. You know, it was a little funny. I actually, I was looking at the entry. I'm sure we all, you know, were looking to see, am I on this list? And what do they have to say about me? I thought it was a little funny, actually. Both the things that were true and the things that weren't true. So just share a few things with me. Some things they got right. So first, anti-democracy extremists by town, right? Do you know any other anti-democracy extremists? I know a few, right? So they got my name right, which is a thing, because sometimes people spell my name with a K instead of a C. It's Eric with a C, all right? But then they said the Free State Party, as we all know. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're not a political party. It's a thing. Anyway, but it does mean that donations are tax deductible, just for anyone who's thinking about it here, right? They said the new executive director of the FSP. Absolutely true. And then this was quite a compliment. This is what they had to say of me. Dedicated to turning New Hampshire into libertarian homeland. Damn straight. Absolutely. What a compliment. I want to put that on a t-shirt. Then they said, former Maine senator. Half true. I'm still a current Maine senator. I gotta finish my term. In fact, it is funny a little bit because we are in the thick of legislative session right now, and everyone keeps asking me, so when are you moving to New Hampshire? You're moving to New Hampshire? So yes, I am. You know, my more liberty friends in the legislature, as few and far between as they are, a little sad. But you know, I'm passing the torch. We aren't meant to do these things forever. I'm proud to pass the torch to so many new liberty leaders there and to come be a part of the movement here. And the progressives are doing a little bit of a jig. They're a little happy, but I've trained up some new leaders to replace me. So they said former Maine senator, half true, half false. And then this was the final thing they said. Ask Joe Biden to free online drug seller. All right? So his name is Ross Ulbricht, and he did not sell drugs online. He built a website, and he should totally be free. And yes, I did when Joe Biden came to Auburn, Maine, because I am the state senator for Auburn, Maine. I did take the opportunity. You know, I was for some reason they put me in the VIP line to like meet him and do like and it was just like me, the Democrat Senate President, the Democrat Speaker of the House, and like a bunch of union thugs. And somehow I'm in the VIP like section. I guess just privilege of being the state senator for the area where he was visiting. And so yeah, I did. You know, I want to be welcoming. You know, I want to be. You know, I got to do my job as the state senator, right? So I said, oh, you know, welcome to Auburn, Mr. President, and all of that. And he goes on, he likes my flag pin, which is, I don't know, you can't see it. So this is something that Maine and New Hampshire have in common, is the pine tree. Of course, we've got our pine trees. But of course, since I've come here, I've learned so much about the pine tree riots because people keep telling me about them. It's apparently a point of pride here in New Hampshire. That's awesome, right? But in Maine, too, we have the Battle of Machias, you know, the first naval battle of the American Revolution, where the people of Maine fought off the British Navy to defend their pine trees. So that's something we have in common. So he tells me how he likes the pin and how nice that is, and oh, the pine trees, and I say, yeah, you know, it's a big point of pride here for us. And he says, yeah, now we got to defend them from global warming. Well, I say, oh, well, you know. Well, welcome to Auburn, Mr. President. And I gave to his staffer a handwritten card to welcome him, but you open it up, it says, welcome to Auburn, Mr. President. You know, one thing I would really appreciate is a pardon for Ross Ulbricht, who's sitting in jail for a double life sentence for building a website. So that's the story there about Granite State Matters. Anyway, I appreciate the things that they took note of, and I'm glad to be on that list with so many of you extremists, and I'm looking forward to all the work that we have ahead. So 65 days into the job, it really has been a whirlwind. You know, meeting so many folks. I'm still getting to know names and faces, so please forgive me when I inevitably don't have it's a process. Like this project of building a libertarian homeland, it's a project for me to make sure I get to know everyone's names and faces as we do this work together. But there's a lot of stuff. I mean, in the 65 days, it's been amazing. We are doing tremendous work to try to get the message out, right, about what we're building here in New Hampshire, this Liberty Homeland. And boy, the work that you guys are doing, the work that folks in the Free State Movement are doing, makes it really easy to sell. I mean, when I show up, it's like my first month on the job, and like the New Hampshire legislature, the New Hampshire House of Representatives passes Defend the Guard. Yeah, that's amazing. Credit to I see Representative Tom Mannion here, who's done tremendous work in the New Hampshire House on Defend the Guard. And it was actually the first guest on our newly launched podcast/videocast, which you can find on all FSP platforms, on X, on Facebook. The Porcupine Report, which is going to be coming, a new episode every single Wednesday. Thank you to Representative Tom Mannion for coming on for episode 1 to talk about the passage of Defend the Guard in the New Hampshire House. And thank you to Justin for running a lot of the tech for us. But there's so... Yeah, give them all a round of applause. That's great. But there's so much to sell about New Hampshire, and we've got to sell it. But it's been amazing. I mean, in the first few weeks, we've had appearances on Fox and Friends. We've had Fox and Friends endorsing Defend the Guard in the New Hampshire House. I hear from parents, folks who love liberty across the country, it's easy to sell. It's like, hey, you know that we have real school choice here? And that we are actually breaking up the education monopoly? All of this is the work that the Free State Project has done in the last 22 years. And there's so much more work to be done. Together we can be the monkey wrench in the gears of the war machine. We can break up the education monopoly. We can minimize the theft that they call taxation to the best of our ability, as we already have in New Hampshire, and we're going to get the word out about it. I think it is so important. The Achilles heel of this empire that we live in. It's the states. It is the ability to work through the states. I mean, for so long in the liberty movement, we have attempted to try to promote liberty by thinking we're going to send all these people to Congress and they're going to fix everything for us, and yet inevitably, it doesn't work. They won't even vote on sending our sons and daughters to war. They just let it go on. But through the states, through concentrating here in a state like New Hampshire and having an outsized impact, we're making the military-industrial complex nervous. We're making all the big government special interests very nervous about what's happening here in New Hampshire. But the best thing is they can't stop it. More and more people are coming. I think that the what is being built here, as someone who still lives in Maine and has been flirting with New Hampshire for the last 10 years, there's a gravity here to New Hampshire. There's a gravity if you love liberty. It's hard not to be pulled in. So we're going to keep pulling people in. We're going to keep getting the message out there. And I want to thank you all for being for really planting the seeds and paving the way, because we are stepping into the second generation now. 22 years. Well, 8 years since we triggered the move. But 22 years since this idea was put forward by our founder, Jason Sorens. And generations from now, I like that idea, right? It's if you get a chance to get in on Switzerland before it's get in early. Well, we're building something awesome here. And there's plenty more work ahead to get that message out. There are millions of libertarians across this country, and many of them still don't know what we're doing here. And there are people who are living under tyrannical states, not to pick on one, but like the Empire State of New York State, right, not too far from us. Do you know that, in the Freedom in the 50 States, New York was just ranked the least free state in America? And of course, we all know what the #1 free state in America was, right? New Hampshire. But there's a lot of people living there under conditions of tyranny. And you got to ask yourself why. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they just don't know how close freedom lives to where they are. So it's going to be our job to let them know, and let them know that, U-Haul's not that expensive. and we would be glad to have them. So that's
the good ones.
only the good ones, the people who love liberty, right? The people who love tyranny, they have a state. It's called the Empire State for a reason. They can live there. But you know what? Lady Liberty probably needs to look for a new home. I'd love to see her just sitting outside of Portsmouth. I think she'd fit in a lot better over here. So, I know I'm standing between all of you and cake, and I'm going to stand in between all of you and cake for a little bit longer because we have a lot of work to do, and this is a fundraiser, right? I know we all kind of donated to be here, and I appreciate all that very much, but we do have a great mission ahead of us. And I did want to ask, I'm going to put everyone here on the spot.
Yeah.
All right? One thing I've learned from 10 years in politics and serving in the state senate and running for federal office is to never be afraid to ask people for money for causes that you believe in. We have a lot of work ahead of us. We've got to get that message out to libertarians across this country. And so I want to ask, who in this audience would be in today to make a donation to the Free State Project of $250? All right, we got one. All right, we got two. I saw a third hand there. I saw a fourth hand there. Fifth hand there. Sixth hand there. Seventh hand there. All right, we just raised like almost $2,000 in like a second. That's awesome. Anyone else in for $250? All right. How about $100? Anyone in for $100? We got $100 there. Another $100. Another $100. 1, 2. All right. Am I seeing everyone? All right. Another one. All right. Another one. All right. I hope you all who are volunteering this are making mental notes right here because you're going to have to go and be the one to like. Yeah. All right. Carla's taking notes. All right. I don't know what that was. That was at least like $2,500 that we just raised.
It's the honor system.
Yeah. All right. Well, those who raise their hands, please be sure to see. I don't know, who should they see? Carla, should they see you? Steve? Steve was one of the guys who raised his hand too. So Steve is in for $250. Go see him. And if you can make a donation that is of any amount. Maybe you were ready to make a $5,000 donation today, and you're just waiting for me to ask for that. Or maybe you can make a $50 donation, or a $25 donation. By the way, tickets to Liberty Forum are also kind of a donation of a kind. So, if you want to buy your ticket to Liberty Forum, that's a way to make a donation too. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be in this fight with you. We are building a liberty homeland, and in this empire of lies is a radical thing to build a free state in this empire of lies. But we have to. We have to. So, thank you all. Just like our ancestors got up and moved in search of freedom and liberty, we all are doing the same. We're building it here. I'm honored to be with you all. Let's make liberty win and build liberty in our lifetimes.
All right, folks, thank you very much for your generous support of the Free State Project. That's awesome. Please do go see Steve. It is the honor system. I had one more sponsor I need to thank, which is the amazing Bill D. I don't know if everyone saw the pine tree appeal to heaven back there. He's got Liberty Loft, all the beautiful products, this podium thing that we couldn't, the Velcro didn't work. I apologize, I left you off the list earlier, but I remembered, so I am glad about that. The last thing, and of course made the beautiful, did you guys see the keepsake? The VIP keepsake? I believe there are 3 VIPs who didn't get them because maybe I sold some too. Because you gotta hustle, always be closing.
Didn't want the
So if someone has an extra, and just spread the love. The last thing I want to mention is I had nothing to do with this, but someone passed a constitutional amendment in the State House, CACR 13. It came from the Dem side. It got voted in overwhelmingly. It abolishes, it makes slavery illegal, but it also makes involuntary servitude illegal. And I'm going to do everything in my power to inspire all of you to do everything in your power to make sure that passes in November. And then I think we got some real interesting constitutional stuff we can do. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you all so much for coming. I love you all. Thank you for being here.